Du hast gesagt, wenn ich das Spiel das nächste Mal starte, dass ich das auf irgendeine Zeit einfach stellen kann. Gönnt euch das. Der hat beim letzten Mal gesagt, ganz ehrlich, ich habe das aufgenommen. Okay, ich habe den Stream runtergeladen, das heißt, ich habe die Aufzeichnung. Ich habe Beweise. Da hat er gesagt, dass weil ich die Zeit richtig eingestellt habe, ich beim nächsten Mal einfach irgendeine Zeit einstellen kann. Jetzt heult er rum. Was soll die Scheiße? Wir werden jetzt schon Freunde, ne? Nach meiner großen Rede darüber, wie beeindruckt ich bin, dass du nicht einfach 12 Uhr einstehst, hast du das also trotzdem gemacht. Weil du gesagt hast, dass ich das einfach machen kann, dass es egal ist beim nächsten Mal. Ich weiß nicht, was ich davon halten will. Deine Mutter kannst du davon halten. Oder vielleicht ist 12 Uhr ja wirklich deine Lieblingsuhrzeit. Das stimmt, ich hätte mir deine Lieblingsuhrzeit einstellen sollen. Bist du wirklich ganz verrückt nach 12 Uhr? Denn falls das so ist. Naja, sagen wir einfach, ich habe viel Zeit damit verbracht, auf die Leute wütend zu sein, die die Zeit auf 12 Uhr eingestellt haben. Habe ich sie für ihren Hang zu 12 Uhr zu Unrecht verachtet? Ja. Vielleicht habe ich das, ja. Lass uns diese Frage mit einem Regler klären. Wie ungerecht ist es, Leute zu verabschieden, deren Lieblingsuhrzeit 12 Uhr ist? Ich glaube, da gibt es nichts irgendwie dran zu meckern, ne? An dem, wie ich das jetzt hier eingestellt habe. Weißt du, du sollst wissen, egal ob es jetzt Mitternacht ist oder nicht, ich habe einen Mordspaß um Anpassen dieser Einstellungen. Ich habe das Gefühl, mehr über dich zu erfahren und darüber, wie du Einstellungen vornimmst. Die Fresse, das klingt voll creepy. Es ist gut, Daten zu sammeln. Oh mein Gott. Ich wünschte, wir hätten mehr Regler. Aber wir sind alle Regler durchgegangen, die ich habe. Vielleicht kann ich ein paar neue Slider erfinden, um neue Daten über dich zu sammeln. Kannst du auch lassen. Sollte nicht so schwer sein. Ja, lass mich ein paar neue auftreiben. Sollte fertig sein, wenn du das nächste Mal das Spiel startest. Oh Gott. Ich werde das Spiel nie wieder starten. Du wirst nie wieder Daten von mir sammeln können. Next Facebook, Metaverse. Ich glaube auch. Let's see. It's loading.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them.
Ah, das sind wir, okay.
This is what employee 427 did every day of every month
Alter,
of
ey.
every year. And although others might have
Vor allem, du musst mit
considered
einer
it
Hand.
soul-rending,
Da brauchst du ja
Stanley
ewig.
relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then
Yeah.
one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Das ist interessant. Beim letzten Mal wurden wir einfach reingeschmissen. Da gab es das Vorgeplänkel hier gar nicht. Also, oder ich kann mich gerade einfach nicht dran erinnern. Das kann auch sein, weil ich vergesslich bin. Bin wieder hier. So, das kennen wir ja schon.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley, oh please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't just give these
ich hatte das
merits
da
away for
übersprungen.
such little effort. A measly 5 clicks.
Ach, halt die
Now
Fresse.
suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
Ich mach das jetzt nicht nochmal, du Idiot. Ich habe das beim letzten Mal schon gemacht. Das ist mir egal jetzt. Kann ich hier irgendwo mal rein? Nö, immer noch nicht. Aber es scheint ja auch viel hier noch zu sein, wo ich halt noch gar nicht war. Ich weiß halt nicht, ob man da noch überall irgendwie hinkommen kann. Ich gebe dir jetzt keine 5 Klicks oder so. Hey! Meine Lieblingsbeschäftigung in diesem Spiel. In den New Content.
Oh, good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Nö. Sehe ich nicht. Hier wirklich auch alles noch an. Wo bin ich jetzt? Hä? Gott, ich habe mich gerade irgendwie ein bisschen verlaufen. Ich glaube, ich habe mich einfach umgedreht und jetzt bin ich verwirrt. Ach hier. Oh Gott, das geht ja schon gut los. Er hat es eigentlich, ja, es hat geupdatet. Das ist jetzt nicht lang. Hä, ich will da hin. Ich will da hinten hin. Macht die Tür hier zu. Dieses Telefon. Oh, ich würde gerne wissen, was da steht. Aber kann man nicht ranzoomen. Der hat hier schon wieder das hier. Der hat da schon wieder solche Dings gemacht. Solche Gitter, damit ich da nicht runterspringen kann. Das ist voll unfair. Der kennt mich überhaupt nicht. Der kennt mich nur, weil er meine Daten sammelt. Hallo, ich will dahin. Als ob ich den Besen nicht hier einfach zur Seite nehmen kann und da reingehen kann. Los, geh wieder zurück. Nein!
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra-deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra-deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Was? Bitte?
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
Das haben wir hier auch überall. Hier ist so eine 2 einfach auf einem Bild gedruckt und eingerahmt. Wie sehr willst du von deiner eigenen Idee einfach, oder auch von dir selbst einfach so überzeugt sein? Wie selbstverliebt. The end is never the end again. 427. Was heißt 427? Ach so, weil Employee 427 sind. Oh Gott. Wir vergessen das gerade, okay? Wir vergessen einfach, dass ich das gerade gesagt habe und machen einfach weiter. Ich habe gar nichts gesagt. Aber ich weiß, ich bin Genius. Was steht da? two... Testing two printers at the same time. Was hat er schon wieder vor? Dieser kleine Sadist. Signature. Ah, nö. Ich unterschreibe hier gar nichts. Investor Showcase.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
Lassen wir ihn einfach in seiner Traumwelt oder... Was ist hier? Ach, schon wieder so eine 2. Two... Oh. Wow. 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 2 einfach in vielen verschiedenen Sprachen. Ich will das hier bedienen. Ich darf immer noch nichts bedienen. Taste the sequel. Really? Aber kann ich ja nicht. Lass mich hier rein. Was steht da? Hallo? Nein! Dann haben wir noch Strichlisten. Ganz viele. 2. Okay. Der ist sehr auf seine Idee mit Stanley Parable 2 fixiert. Okay. Sogar hier der Teppich, ne? Alles römische 2. Wow, boy. Wow. Really? Really? Mach das hier aus. Aha. Hier steht nichts. Oh Gott. Wo soll ich denn hin? Warum darf ich da nicht hin? Das ist voll unfair. Und wie der mich schon wieder einschränkt. Hä? Ach so. Oh Gott, warum bin ich heute so lost? Also, loster als sonst. Ja, der Typ, ey, ne? Was ist denn mit ihm? Aber man muss ja echt sagen, so diese ganzen Details einfach in dem Spiel, das ist schon echt cool. Time to wake up. Wow. Mit einer 2. New Mug. Da weiß ich nicht, was da steht, weil da kann ich nicht hin. Never underestimate coffee enjoyer who left their cup by a leather sofa that faces a blurry room. Ist das irgendwie eine Drohung oder so? Soll ich jetzt irgendwie Angst haben? Wenn ja, dann funktioniert das irgendwie nicht so gut, aber versucht doch nochmal mehr Angst zu machen. Was ist denn mit ihm? Ganz ehrlich. They're back, 2 doors. Meine Güte, sag mir aber, was mit meinen Leuten passiert ist. Meeting at 2 p.m. Natürlich, at 2 p.m. Aber 2 p.m. ist leider schon lange vorbei. Ich glaube, ich habe das ein bisschen vercheckt. Hier sogar so eine 2 einfach da in der Ablage liegen. What? So, ey. Was zur Hölle einfach. New content is out. New content part 2 is in. Wow. Boring sections of the chart. Cool red section of the chart. New hotness. Cold and busted. Ja, 2. Ja, wir verstehen es langsam. Was steht da? Don't talk to me before I've had a sequel. Oh. Leel. Win-win. Sag mal. Der hat irgendwie echt ein Problem, oder? ist wieder die New Markt-Tasse. Bruder. Wie hier so verschiedene Logos, was so am besten aussieht. Ja, lol. Das vorletzte hat so ein bisschen Resident Evil 7. Nicht 7. Generell Resident Evil Vibes. Das ist doch... Wow. Wo? Ach da. Hier sind auch 2 Menschen, ne? Was für ein Zufall. Lass mich hier raus.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Ich weiß einfach noch nicht genau, was das wird, aber erstmal schon übelst obsessed damit sein. Aber vielleicht wird's ja voll scheiße. Nee, da will ich wieder raus. Hallo. Der hält mich hier gefangen. Hallo, Hilfe. Achso, das ist wieder das. Hä? Das sind auch sehr schöne Zweien. Meeting Plan. Scrum Design, Pitch Break, Pitch Design. Number 2 Chat. Und 12:02 Uhr. Wow. Was zur Hölle. 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, 2 arms, 2 legs. Who took the red mark? Me. Was zur Hölle? Was zur Hölle, Leute? Sequels are good. Portal 2, Half-Life 2, Batman, Arkham. Asylum 2. Halt die Fresse. Divinity Original Sin 2, Doom 2, Aladdin 2, The Return of Jafar, Dark Souls 2. Der Ultimate Sequel. Also. Ey, hier überall einfach nur 2 hingeschrieben, ne? Was steht da? The Stanley Parable is the prequel to the Stanley Parable 2. Ist the sequel to the Stanley Parable. Oh mein Gott. Kann ich bitte einfach hier raus? Tja. Es ist so dumm. Es ist einfach so doof. Was steht da? Every pause button is a Roman numeral 2. Dein Ernst? Just the two of us, we can make it if we try. Just the two of us, just 2 of us. Just the 2 of us, building castles in the sky. Just the 2 of us, you and I. Wow. You are the sequel. Oh, jetzt wird's aber romantisch hier. Stop romancing me. It doesn't work on me. Oh, roter Teppich. Ich gehe da jetzt hin. Oh nee. This way to the show floor. Oh, ich will da gar nicht hin. Ich gehe da jetzt hin. I mean, ich liebe Kino, aber... Oh, alles so voller Zweien, ne? Warum kann ich da nicht hin? Warum kann ich hier nicht rein? Wo soll ich denn hin? Kann ich hier auf dem roten Teppich bleiben? Das ist ja wie so eine Premiere gestaltet, ne? So richtig. Hier roter Teppich und hier so Background. Oh mein Gott, ich bin hinter der Schrift. Krass. New Content. Ach, boy. Na, gehen wir mal hier hoch. Expo Hall 2. Das wurde mal abgefuckt, ne?
Here we are. Go on.
Nein!
Try out some of the new features.
Ich will da rein. Ich meine raus. Assurance Bucket. Oh Gott, ich will gar nichts hier ausprobieren, Bruder. Merch. Natürlich, alles mit Zweien. I saw the new content. Welcome to the showcase. New features and content in the new game. Vielleicht sollte er mal einen Therapeuten aufsuchen. Ja, das wäre vielleicht mal ein kluger Rat. Ich glaube auch. The button that says the name of the player that is playing the game. Ich weiß doch gar nicht, wie ich heiße. Exclusive. Hear your name in the game. Oh Gott, als ob ich das will. Oh mein Gott! Warum ist da oben ein riesiger Mensch? Warum zur Hölle dreht er seinen Kopf? Tschüss. Ich gehe zum Abfalleimer. Das finde ich irgendwie nicht okay. Stanley Parable 2. Please no screenshots. Lass mal Screenshots machen, Alter. Stanley Parable Beruhigungseimer. Ja, den brauche ich auch. Ich glaube, den braucht der Typ auch mal hier. Ah, das ist wieder das. Unendliches Loch, Bürodekoration. Was für ein unendliches Loch.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
Warum? What is the point of these two? Weil das muss ja dann auch irgendwie eine Bedeutung haben, aber das macht halt irgendwie keinen Sinn. Hä? Was? Ach so, da soll ich hin. Lol. Das habe ich gerade gar nicht gesehen. Happy 12th Birthday, Stepnies. Oder Get Well Someday.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, stepniece, it is.
Wow, warum hast du mich dann gefragt? Der verarscht mich doch hier nach Strich und Faden, ganz ehrlich. Kleiner Pisser. Was mache ich denn hier?
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No. No, I've made my decision, we're moving on.
Der hat echt Probleme, kann das? Ja, es sieht wunderschön aus. Du kannst sehr stolz auf dich sein, Junge. Nee. Oder? Nee. Ich will wieder dorthin zurück. Was ist hier oben?
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try.
Sag mal. einen Eimer umarmen, um sich besser zu fühlen. Man kennt's.
Can you feel it? The
No.
glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair,
Not really.
must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends
Ja,
you an air
irgendwie
of charisma as well?
So auf eine ekelhafte Art und
I
Weise
think
ist er
that
einem
just holding
sympathisch.
you has made
Das
you the
stimmt.
slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Irgendwie ist es witzig, wie er einen immer fertig macht. Kann ich den jetzt wieder irgendwie wegmachen? Kann ich den irgendwie droppen? Oh. Schleppe ich jetzt hier die ganze Zeit den Eimer mit mir rum?
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Sprungkreis und unendliches Loch. New features, new content, new ideas. Consistent quality, which is the right amount of change. The new updated ray traced more of the same, but in a good way. Secret to the whatever. These are screenshots. Ja, ja. Red is the new orange. The babies are grown up. Wow. Was ist das? Investor. Aha. Ah, mich juckt's. Wartet. So. Was war jetzt das hier? Jump Circle. Ach so, okay, da kommen wir dann wieder hier hin. Ah, okay, check. Der Jump Circle,
You
den
know
haben wir doch schon mal
what?
gesehen.
Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley
Ach,
Parable
auf einmal
2
mag
as
er
well.
den Jump Circle.
Oh wait, you already spent all
Jetzt
your
das
jumps
Ganze
the
ist
first
witzig,
time
ja.
we saw the jump circle. Oh well. I suppose it
Well,
can
well.
just be a nice decorative piece then.
Wie, jetzt kann ich ja nichts weiter machen? Ich will springen. Wie unfair. Jump circle. Reaching on the button, it says the name merge single with champion Stanley Parable with reassurance pocket. Office decoration. Wo haben wir jetzt noch nicht? Ausgang, Sprungkreis. Can you find them? Ist das unendliche Loch? Alter.
Collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Das ist keiner creepy. Wie die so alle aus der Wand kommen. Sind das vielleicht alles unsere eigentlichen Mitarbeiter? Die hier verendet sind? Ich war noch nicht im Loch. Okay. Aber das hier ist ja schon irgendwie ein bisschen, weiß ich halt nicht, ne? Was zur Hölle? Yay! Collect them all.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Hä, das ist voll cool. Was ist dein Problem? Neu. I can't believe it's that simple. Free Achievement. Gratis-Erfolg. Ach, da ist dann das Infinite Hole. Okay, lass erstmal nochmal hierhin zurückgehen. Lass das hier jetzt einfach nochmal machen. Ja, dann haben wir hier in dem Bereich nämlich, glaube ich, alles. Weil sonst müssen wir dann vielleicht nochmal zurück und ich weiß aber nicht unbedingt, ob wir dann nochmal zurückkommen. Hear your name. Ich weiß ja gar nicht, ob ich überhaupt meinen richtigen Namen eingebe. Lol.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people.
Muss nicht.
So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Road to the perfect button. Wow. Name.
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature.
Ich will aber
Just
nicht Jim
play
sein.
along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I
Nein!
want you to imagine yourself living as Jim.
Ich will das
Sleeping
nicht.
and waking as Jim. Falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim. Seizing all of the world's
Das fällt mir sehr schwer, mir
possibilities
das
as
vorzustellen.
Jim. And as Jim, watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply?
Nein.
Are you really, truly Jim right now?
Nein.
If so, then please step forward and press the button.
Nö. Fühle ich nicht. Er hat gesagt, wenn ich das fühle, dann soll ich das drücken. Hallo. Sag mal. Ich halte gleich meinen Eimer noch fester. Fang jetzt nicht an mich Jim, sondern ey, ganz ehrlich. Ich fühle mich nie als Jim. Also ich habe ja sehr viel Kreativ und Fantasie, aber das übersteckt mich dann doch ein bisschen.
Jim.
Komm.
Yes, you see? What a thrill, what a rush. That was you. The button described you. Do it again, do it again.
Oh mein Gott. Was ist denn mit ihm? Jimmy Neutron, ja.
Jim.
It hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal valid... Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much Jim. I'm putting the Jim button away. Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are.
Jim.
Schade. Bringt den wieder zurück. Ey, der nimmt an jeden Spaß, ne? Was für ein Spielverderber.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
Was ist hier? Ist das... Das ist aber nicht der Exit, ne? Epilog. Ich weiß ja nicht, ob ich da jetzt schon reingehen soll oder ob ich dann nicht wieder zurückkomme. Oder kann ich da reingehen? Kein Plan. Scheiße. Ich gehe erstmal zu dem Loch. New Easy Achievement. Will ich erstmal dahin. Get yours right now. Put a lever. Achievement, no more steps. It just works. Get yours right now.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that. Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Idiot. So, warum lockt er mich dann hierher? Warum bin ich hier? Irgendwo mir und ein Kind. Es gibt jetzt gar keine Probleme mit meinem Headset. Oh, das ist sehr schön. Dann lasse ich wirklich einfach den Popschutz weg. Vielleicht lag es wirklich daran, auch wenn ich nicht so wirklich weiß, warum, aber...
Haven't we seen yet?
Huch. Ach so, das war das. Dann gehe ich jetzt mal zu dem Loch. Okay. Like infinity, space like infinity, das ist space-time von... Ich habe keine Ahnung, was das bedeutet. Opening a room, surrounding area. It just keeps going. Was zur Hölle? Roll ich nicht. Naja, ich gehe einfach mal.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Was ist denn mit dem Typen? Wie ich jetzt hier die ganze Zeit den Eimer mit mir rumschleppe. Ich will einfach nur wissen, ob der hier was sagt, wenn ich wieder weggehe. Nö. Warum meckert der nicht rum, dass ich weggehe? Das ist unsatisfying. Naja, ciao.
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel. Okay. Now let's go back on the home now. Did you really need to see it again? I don't know what else there is to say, Stanley. It's an infinite hole. It's exactly what you're doing right now, but forever. There really are so many other fascinating exhibits that I've prepared for you. I really spent quite a lot of time on all this, and I would very much like to show you some more of them. How about we go ahead and press that teleport button again, so we can get back to what's really important about... Oh, goodness. Well, this is rather embarrassing.
Das ist interessant.
I'll be honest with you, I truly did not believe that anyone would actually stay in the hole long enough to hit the bottom. Yes, I know. I told you the hole was infinite, but come on. Who actually wants to fall forever? The hole was
die ganze-
plenty deep. It was more
Really?
than deep enough, in my opinion. Maybe it's you who likes falling too much. Maybe you're the problem.
Maybe you're the problem.
Things got a little heated there. I think
Hör
we both
auf,
said
die
some
Songs von
things
Ava
we
Max
didn't
zu klauen.
mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you,
Nein.
then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
Ey, die ganzen... warum sind hier so viele Zigarettenstummel? Was ist das denn? Man kann hier mal jemand sauber machen und hier liegt auch eine Tasse. Die wahrscheinlich keiner mehr wollte. Was ist denn das? Vorwiegend unendlich. Das hätte man mal einer darüber schreiben sollen, das stimmt. Das stimmt. Ob man damit durchgekommen wäre, weiß ich zwar nicht, aber es wäre ein Versuch wert gewesen.
Oh, for heaven... You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much.
Das klingt falsch. Hör auf
Normal
damit.
person
Das ist
would have
pervers.
said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there. Goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time?
Ja.
I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above.
Wie oft kann ich das machen?
Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. I really do have so much more to show you and to talk about, and I've had enough of the hole for a lifetime.
Ich nicht.
Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow. Okay. Yes. I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily
Ich meine, das
less
ist so lange,
and
bis
less
das nicht mehr
infinite.
da ist.
I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability in marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here,
Natürlich.
let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top and we'll see if it gets any shorter.
Ach, jetzt
Well,
sprichst du
there
meine
it is.
Sprache.
The shame
Ja,
of my
guck.
lie has come to haunt me. Not only is the hole not infinite, but it's barely even a hole at this point.
Ja, ich hab
It's more of a
dein Loch
concavity,
kaputt gemacht.
or even a very aggressive divot.
Ich hab dein Loch kaputt gemacht.
How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on. Is the, teleport button not working?
Nee.
You sure?
Ja.
Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. It was working just a moment ago. Try it again.
Großartig.
Still nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else.
Warum
Take
ist
care, Stanley.
Warum
I
ist er
hope
denn jetzt
you
so
and the
salty?
hole have a wonderful rest of eternity together.
Warum ist er denn jetzt so salty geworden? Was ist denn mit ihm? Habe ich das Game wieder gecrashed? Das tut mir jetzt leid. Ich und mein Loch. Guck mal. Es wird wieder tiefer. Ich und das vorwiegend unendliche Loch. Ja. Tschüss. War schön mit euch. Ade mit E. War schön. Tschüsseldorf. San Francisco. geil. Das ist nice. Ich mag den Sound, der da immer kommt. So sehe ich also aus.
My head's stronger. Now you're no longer using up the space of mine.
Das ist geil. Das ist auch geil. No. No. Also hier fühle ich mich wohl. Schau, wissen, was es sonst noch so gibt. Das kann ja nicht unendlich sein, oder? Okay. Ich gehe wieder zurück. Zu meinem. Zu dem hier. Das finde ich gut. Ja, und die Babys.
Stanley? Stanley? Stanley! Oh, good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed off there, drifting away into dreamland. But we can't have that, Stanley, because this
Warum
hole
nicht?
is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single moment. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really, truly focused on the whole? From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this
Oh mein
hole.
Gott,
And
ich
I'm
will
looking
nicht.
forward to all of them.
Nein.
Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodlepip.
Warum ist denn der Typ so? Kann der mich hier nicht mal rausholen? Ich habe das Spiel kaputt gemacht. Es tut mir leid. Hä?
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
Kann ich mir noch so ein Bucket holen? Nö, schade. Warum beachten die sowas? Das ist wohl unfair. Ich wollte einen Eimer für meinen Eimer, damit sich mein Eimer nicht mehr so alleine fühlt. The button that says Gym. Ach. Wirklich. Okay, dann let's just get in here.
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, yes, it will go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Was? Hä? Okay. Bin ich denn jetzt? Warum bin ich hier? Größtenteils unendliches Loch. Gratis Erfolg. Einstellungen Weltmeister. Lass mich da rein. Der lässt mich da nicht rein. Besser lässt er dann erstmal so eine Treppe hochgehen und dann ist da gar nichts. Voll unfair. Can't believe it's dead. Und das hatte ich ja jetzt schon. Ich glaube, dann habe ich alles, oder? Oder war ich jetzt immer noch nicht? Aber mich interessiert was. Ich bin auch noch da. Wie der hier jetzt die Tür zugemacht hat, der P. Ich will wieder zu meinem Loch. Guck mal, der lässt mich da nicht mehr hin. Was soll die Scheiße? Der treibt kalt zwischen das Loch und mich. Das finde ich nicht okay. Er versucht uns voneinander fernzuhalten und uns zu trennen. Was soll das? Du kannst nicht zwischen uns stehen. Wir werden uns wiedersehen. Wir werden für immer zusammen sein. Ja, ich will unbedingt nochmal zu meinem Loch. Ja, ich weiß, ich bin poetisch. Nicht immer, aber manchmal. Mein fast unendliches Loch. Ich werde dich wiederfinden. Ich krieg keinen Eimer. Ich darf nicht zu meinem Loch. Warum bin ich hier? Ich hock mich jetzt einfach hier hin. Und dann bleibe ich hier. You are here. Das weißt du gar nicht. Aber da konnte ich ja jetzt halt nicht hin. Also hier war ja jetzt hier nichts bei den Settings World Champion. Oder bin ich jetzt doof? Da war jetzt nichts, was ich irgendwie machen konnte. Einstellungen Weltmeister. Kann man ja nichts machen. Weird. Hä? Achso. Dann war es das hier erstmal. Glaube ich. Es sei denn, ich habe jetzt irgendwas übersehen, aber ich glaube nicht. Ausgang. Ich glaube, das ist noch nicht so weit oder so. Da habe ich ihm da vielleicht nicht zugehört. Aber das passiert manchmal. Der redet so viel, da höre ich manchmal auch nicht mehr zu. Und wenn ich das sage, dann muss das was heißen.
All right. Have you seen everything you wanted to?
Nein, ich
Ready
wollte
to
mein Loch
move
noch
on
mal
now?
sehen. Nein. Ich wollte mein Loch noch mal sehen. Das heißt, ja, so geht's dir bei mir auch immer. Was soll das denn heißen? Also einfach hier so ein... Was zur Hölle, ey. Aha.
So,
Mein
Stanley,
Loch!
what do you think? Do you like
groß.
all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's
Loch-Liebe.
going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience.
Lass mein Loch in Ruhe.
Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
Kann ich da hin?
Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do
Lass
it
mich
differently.
dahin, da ist mein Loch.
Okay, yes. This is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
Da ist mein Loch.
Who am I kidding,
Lass mich
Stanley?
dahin.
This isn't a coherent video
ich da
game at
hin?
all. It's
Nee,
a
ne?
lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy
Das sind
creating
zwei Löcher.
gags, but they don't add up to anything.
Das sind 2 Löcher.
I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose
Ja.
it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2." Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect.
Solange ich
Go
mein Loch
ahead.
habe, bin ich eigentlich
Take
glücklich.
a look.
Mehr brauche ich hier nicht. Mehr musst du mir hier gar nicht geben. The fuck? Voll schön, so in Rot gehalten. Ich muss zu meinem Loch. Da waren sogar 2 Löcher bei der einen Version. Die hätte ich voll gut gefunden. Warum kriege ich
This
die
is the
nicht?
story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room
Ballons, ey.
427 and he pushed
Really?
buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee
What the fuck?
427 did every day of every month of every year. And
Oh my
although
God.
others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made
Ich meine, es ist ja einfache Arbeit, aber wäre für mich auch zu eintönig, ne?
Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened.
Ballons.
This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Wo ist mein Loch?
All of his
Wo hast du
coworkers
es
were
versteckt?
gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go
Mir
to
ist
the
alles
meeting
egal.
room. Perhaps he had
Aber
simply
mein
missed
Loch.
a memo.
Ach, ich esse meine Haare. Warum mache ich das?
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Ja, so ein bisschen Deko macht halt echt viel aus. Deswegen habe ich
Stanley
auch
felt
die
the
ganze Zeit
bucket
gesagt.
calling to him, begging him to pick it up. Why was he not doing it?
Wo ist denn hier ein Eimer? Deswegen habe ich ja auch gesagt, so eine Couch zu haben macht ja auch übelst viel aus. Und das hier habe ich gerade legit nicht gesehen.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
Auf so einer Säule, ey. Mit einem roten Kissen. Okay. Hier war dann der New Content.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
Eben. Also lass mich.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
Ja.
Truly, being here with the bucket was a grand adventure. Stanley reflected on
Tja, auf
all
den
they'd
Bucket.
been through together. First, walking through the door on the right. Then walking to the lounge. Then arriving at the lounge. What a thrilling journey the bucket had inspired.
Ja, eben. Danke für den Eimer. Gelobt sei der Eimer.
Perhaps this was where the bucket felt most truly at home. Here in the employee lounge. Perhaps it's the only place a bucket can even feel at home.
Eben, also lass mich hier sein. Oder gib mir mein Loch, dann gehe ich dahin.
Stanley decided to just give the bucket absolutely as much time as it needed to be in the lounge. Clearly, the bucket and the employee lounge shared a special connection.
Ich bin so gütig zu dem Bucket. Gar nicht wahr. Sagt er jetzt hier nichts mehr? Ich glaube, der sagt hier nichts mehr. Schade.
But finally, the bucket was done being in the lounge, and they took the first open door on their left to get back to business.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms.
Oh, wie
How
romantisch.
deeply touching.
Ich wollte nur ausprobieren. Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Yeah,
Stanley
okay.
lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go. Good.
Said the bucket. But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation
Oh,
of
da
himself
sagt
and
er
the
aber noch mal
bucket,
das Gleiche.
his dearest friend.
Ach Mann.
So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
Das tut mir jetzt leid. Ich wollte auch nur ausprobieren. Okay. Dann mache
All
ich
of
das
his
jetzt richtig
co-workers were
halt.
gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket.
Lass mein Eimer in
Stanley
Ruhe.
clutched the
Und
bucket
gib mir mein
tightly
Loch.
to his- This was not the correct way to the
Es
meeting
soll nicht so
room.
viel labern, es
But
soll mir mein Loch
Stanley had
geben.
felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left.
Ja, ich weiß auch
to
nicht
the
irgendwie.
meeting room.
Aber der soll mir mein Loch zurückgeben.
No,
Said
Wo ist
the
denn das
bucket.
Loch?
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious
Ist doch
fact.
normal. Hättest du
He
mir
was
sprechen
firmly
einmal auch immer.
convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Mein Eimer redet immer zu mir, mein Mülleimer.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Okay.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick
Aber
up.
wie? Ach so. Jetzt wollte ich mich auch noch probieren, was da für ein Ende kommt.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
Ja, kann er auch. Macht keiner auf. Schön. Hä, voll die geile Wohnung habe ich hier. Ist das meine Wohnung oder bin ich irgendwo eingebrochen? Mein Eimer!
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders.
Das weißt du gar
Whatever
nicht.
Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
Beweis es doch. Was mache ich jetzt? Ach so.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object?
Nö,
I want to say
ist doch
something to
normal.
him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
Wird er nicht. Wo ist mein Eimer? Da ist mein Eimer.
Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think. It can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location.
Ich
That's
weiß
it.
auch nicht, warum
It
er mit
doesn't
mir
do
über mich in der
anything
Person
else.
redet. gehe ich jetzt nach Hause.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time, it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. His stupid hunk of metal.
Ja, so höre ich erst recht nicht auf dich, wenn du meinen Eimer beleidigst. Drücke X, um alle in deinem Leben außer mir zu ignorieren.
It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty
Ja, er hat doch
bucket,
selbst ein
this
Bucket invented,
sort of
was will er denn jetzt?
shiny bucket.
Er ist doch selber schuld.
Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it. Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
Und denselben Tag mit mir wieder und wieder zu erleben.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
Guck mal, jetzt wird er sogar hier angeleuchtet, weil er so heilig ist. Drücke N, um nach Hause und zur Arbeit und nach Hause und zur Arbeit und nach Hause zu gehen.
Oh no. I'm having feelings for the bucket. No. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand.
guck.
Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes. The bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation.
Hier sind Kerzen. Hat er meinen Eimer geklaut? Gib meinen Eimer her. Das geht mir jetzt ein bisschen zu weit. Ich will jetzt eigentlich nicht mit dem Eimer rummachen. Das ist mir jetzt doch ein bisschen zu heavy. Ich meine, voll romantisch hier mit den Kerzen und so, aber das ist nicht mein Turn. Ich kann mein Loch nicht mit dir betrügen. Das geht nicht. Was ist denn das? Oh Gott.
Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it
Nein.
to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now. Give it or I'll...
Eins. Was spiele ich hier? Wo ist mein Eimer? Der hat meinen Eimer
All of his
geklaut.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. A cargo lift, yeah.
Ah,
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
ja, okay.
In
Dann lass dir
here.
das
said
mal
the
auch nochmal
bucket.
Go
probieren.
into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Obey him.
Now pick up the phone.
Whoa, hold on. Why did you unplug the phone? Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk. It was a joke. Don't you get the joke? It's funny, Stanley. A talking bucket.
Das ist wirklich wie das Loch.
Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer?
Von Anfang an den Witz vermasselt.
Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it. But there isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is. It's sitting right here. Let's take a look.
Jetzt will der wieder, dass wir uns ein Video angucken.
What is comedic timing? What is comedic timing? How does it work? How long should it last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies? And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds? Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes.
Oh Gott.
Let's dive deeper. If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit, with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good comedic timing. To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name.
Weiß ich ja nicht.
Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time. With these steps complete, it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks
Ich
when
höre gar nicht
necessary.
zu.
When the joke has
Ich
concluded,
werde durchfallen.
it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny." Let's
Gott, I'm
practice
Dunny with the
screaming,
funny.
"I'm Dunny with the funny" now.
Ich geh gleich.
Good. This saying is a perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally,
Nein.
it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn
Manche
as a
Dinge tun
comedian.
einfach nur weh.
An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all. Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, we're each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invader who threaten our very existence and who very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles. All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble cause.
Was ist denn
Just
das
as our
jetzt?
children must do
Was sind
after
wir
us,
jetzt?
and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
Hä? Worum geht's hier jetzt nochmal?
Hey, goodness, this video is a little outdated, isn't it? Well, no matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So, with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I
Jetzt
can
weiß ich,
try
wie
telling my
lustig sein
story
kann.
with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back.
Ich bleib hier. Ach Mann. Das ist nur ein Spaßverderber. Guck, jetzt ist ja wieder das Gitter, als ob ich da hingehe. So fies.
I can feel it. This time, I'm really going to nail the delivery.
bitte
You'll be in
nicht.
stitches. A talking
nicht.
bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous. How absurd. What a hilarious concept. The king of comedy. That's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we have the instructional video.
I doubt
Otherwise,
it.
who knows where we'd be right now. Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure. The bucket spoke to Stanley.
The bucket spoke.
The bucket spoke. Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things.
Der Typ hat echt Nerven.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Ich habe immer noch Links-Rechts-Schwäche.
What? We're back at the phone already? No, what's going on? There were supposed to be several rooms leading up to this. There was supposed to be a build-up to this point, a dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off. The joke will never land. Well, not the way it was meant to. And it's all my fault. I must have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately after the 2 doors room. What an egregious mistake. I've made a fool of myself.
Okay,
I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing.
das stimmt.
I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp. I think I need to go back and rewatch that instructional video again.
Nein.
Surely that will help me improve my... Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left. What? We're back at the phone already? No. Here we go. You ready?
Ich habe ihn kaputt
When
gemacht.
Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left. No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back to the phone. Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think this is all covered very clearly. There's no way I can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done and over. It's all your fault, Stanley. I'm going to be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings from now on. All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a hint. Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down,
Yep.
Stanley? Are you proud?
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's like you... it's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale in comparison. Yes. Well, let me try that again, Stanley. I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are. No? Still not? Is it the delivery? Pale with shame. Pale with shame? Pale... What's another word to describe a bucket? Stanley, this bucket is so metal, I think I saw it playing guitar.
Was?
No. We're getting away from making fun of Stanley's obsession with the bucket, which was the whole point of this. I'm no good at these jokes. I need more instructional videos. That's exactly what it is.
God.
That's what will make me the king of comedy.
Oh my.
More instructional videos. Let's see.
Please don't. The fuck?
Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone. Not with the... Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
Ja, okay, wir gehen
Stanley
jetzt mal
took the
hier
door on
rein.
his left to go back to the meeting room. And so the 2 of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Nein! Mach das auf.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer.
Gott. Alter,
I think it'll
nein.
make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree?
Es wird alles gut, Eimer. Es wird alles gut.
Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you.
Es wird
Go
alles
ahead
gut.
now, Stanley.
Nein,
Say goodbye to the bucket,
nein,
and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
nein. Das kann der jetzt nicht von mir verlangen.
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved
Seh ich
Stanley
nicht.
Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after
Das
this.
ist mein Eimer.
Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We
Nein.
can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket.
Nein.
Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what
Scheiß
they
auf
want.
die Fans.
Hurry and
Ich mach doch nicht meinen Eimer kaputt.
The Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had
Ja.
so much potential.
Kannst
We were
du mir
going to do
goodbye
such
sagen?
marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
Warum soll ich meinem Eimer Goodbye sagen? Der kann doch seiner scheiß Maschine Goodbye sagen, ganz ehrlich. Da werden weniger Herzen gebrochen. Das ist mein Eimer.
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself. That's all I need. If I can make it through this door, the good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on another thrilling adventure together.
Ja, lass uns.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room. But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him
Das ist mein
that
Eimer.
the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
Der wird dir nichts antun,
And here
Eimer.
it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back
Warum
to
ist
the
nicht
meeting
leicht
room.
mit uns? Der will meinen Eimer kaputt machen.
And so the two of them
Seh
detoured
ich
through
nicht.
the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Ich glaube, bei dem hackt's. Der hat auch Lack gesoffen.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more
Ja,
than ever.
mein
Perhaps
Eimer.
his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
Mein Eimer.
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can
Hä?
feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy? It's as
Nee,
clear as day.
fühl
This
ich nicht.
broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's
Nee.
a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here.
Seh ich
It's supposed
nicht.
to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be. given the pressure that the broom closet
Nee,
is
ist
putting
nicht
on
schwer
your
für mich.
shoulders right
Alles
now,
gut.
but you have to be strong.
Ja.
This is your bucket. This
Ja.
is your companion and lifelong friend.
Ja, guck,
Can't hand it
sag
over.
ich doch.
Oh no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and
Ja,
meaningless
umgekehrte
that you
Psychologie
feel the
oder was?
same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences
Ich
you and
ignoriere
the
sie
bucket have
einfach, die
shared together.
Besenkammer.
Go
Was
through
will die
each
von
of
mir?
them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it.
Lasst mich. Vor allem, er sagt, bei mir ist irgendwie
Okay,
was
I've got you something which I think will
nicht
help
richtig,
settle
weil
this
ich
debate
auf den
once
Eimer
and
höre, aber
for
er
all.
redet mit einer
Here we
Besenkammer.
go. There.
Ja.
Now it's settled.
Meins.
No more debate, no more discussion. Take a hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things.
Lass meinen Eimer. Meins.
All right, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate. You
Ja.
see? I feel that it works because the sticker is also a bucket. That way, if you're ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and say to yourself, ah, it's a bucket.
Es ist
There
mehr
really
als ein
is a
Eimer.
wide variety of applications for this sticker.
Es ist viel mehr als ein Eimer. Schäm dich, dass du ihn nur als Eimer bezeichnest.
You know what? I could take the name calling
Ich
and
glaube,
the
Heute,
dismissal
du bist schon
of
so
your
lange
kinship with
aufgefangen.
the bucket, but now the broom closet is just giving us the silent treatment. And
Ich
to be
bin auch
honest,
beleidigt.
I'm sick of the pettiness on display. You can stay here all you like, but I've had it with this impetulant room of cleaning supplies. Easily the most childish such room I've ever been in. I'll see you outside, and we can get on with the story about you and your bucket.
Was will er denn von mir? Wir bleiben hier. Ist er weg? Ist er endlich weg? Ruhe und Frieden. Endlich nur noch ich und der Eimer. Ich will ja nichts sagen, aber ich höre hier nichts von der Besenkammer, ne? Komisch. Hörst du irgendwas, Eimerlein? Der spinnt ja, dass er mit einer Besenkammer redet. Gut, dass wir nicht so dumm sind. Hallo? Hallo?
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Ich weiß nicht, wo oben und unten ist. Oh, guck mal!
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Ja, ja. Siehst du, da was Gutes hier runtergegangen bin.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy.
Nein, bin ich nicht.
He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket.
Nein.
The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and
Doch,
comfort.
tue ich.
And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How
Nein,
did I
mein
end
Eimer.
up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong.
Als ob ich das
Surely
denke.
no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre
Wo ist mein Eimer?
hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed,
Wo ist mein Eimer?
he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him. Stanley! Stanley, it's me, the bucket.
Wo ist mein Eimer?
He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket. Come to me, Stanley. Find me. He had to find the
Wo ist mein
bucket.
Eimer?
He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along.
Nein, mein Eimer ist hier irgendwo.
Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
Der hat mir meinen Eimer weggenommen, der Pisser. Was soll die Scheiße?
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course.
Ja,
he'd gone
natürlich ist
mad,
das ein Problem.
ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Mein Eimer hat noch
Where are we
Aufkleber.
going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together would be perfectly fine with him.
Ja.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Jetzt habe ich überall Katzenhaare. Lexi, du fusselst. Kleine Maus. Hä? There will be a reward for finding them all. Ja. Some flying objects have appeared across the office. We have to analyze all resources to ensure. Okay. Ah ja. Just a completionist instinct. Ihr seid alle komisch, ja. Stairs, something to do with stairs. Inside office, seek full exit. A large room. Lots of boxes somewhere. Ich weiß, wo das mit dem Fireplace ist. Okay. A large room, lots of boxes. Scheiße, haben wir da schon einen verpasst? Access plan, Also, somewhere both red and blue. You have a fireplace, a private but smarty place for an important person. Ha!
Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If
Warum
I
denn
did,
nicht?
you can guarantee we'd be in here for hours. But alas, no stickers.
Schlecht. Schlechte Vorbereitung. Nur 2 Aufkleber auf meinen Eimer. Was soll denn das? Guck mal, wie traurig er ist. Er will mehr Aufkleber. Was soll das? Ach Mann.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Somewhere both red and blue. Das hier ist ja rot. Das hier ist ja blau. Habe ich da jetzt irgendwas übersehen? I am confusion.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then, something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy.
Ich bin echt
He
verwirrt
looked down
irgendwie.
at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized,
Oh,
this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the
Ich ralle irgendwie nicht, wo
psychologically
es ist.
grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him. Stanley!
Ich rall's irgendwie nicht, wo es ist.
Stanley, it's me, the bucket. Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them
Und da
were
war
his
oben nochmal
special
irgendwie rot
bucket.
und blau.
Come to me, Stanley. Find me. He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled
Ich
over
bin
in
ein
agony
wenig
and blacked out.
confused. Da, wo ich das
This is
System
the
abschalten
story
kann.
of a woman named Mariella. Mariella
Weiß
woke
ich
up on a
nicht.
day like any other.
Maybe.
She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man
Ich
who
überlege
had
auch gerade, gab
stumbled
es irgendwo
through
eine
town,
Toilette?
talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk.
War a private
Right
but
away,
smelly
she
place
knew
for
what
an
the
important
problem
person?
was. This
Doch,
man
oben gab's die
had
Toilette,
no
ne?
bucket. Of
Ja.
course, he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions.
Als ob ich jetzt ans Telefon gehe. Wo denn? Wo? Das habe ich, glaube ich, beim letzten Mal schon gesucht, ne? Ja, ist es nicht das hier? Aber ich kann da nicht rangehen.
Hello.
Ah,
This is a recorded message scheduled either by you or a person in your place of work. The purpose of this message is to warn you about the dangers of recorded messages. If at any time you believe you are listening to a recorded message, please terminate it immediately and cease all flow of information from the recorded message into your perceptual sphere. Thank you, and have a pleasant day.
hä? Was? Was will sie von mir? Lass mich. Gib mir meinen Eimer.
A good bucket, a strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket, a bucket of culture and distinction.
Ja.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest
Gib mir meinen
and
Eimer.
entered the door on his left.
Gib mir meinen Eimer und dann gibt's auch keine Probleme. Okay, dann gehen wir jetzt einfach mal hochgucken zum Boss. Hier ist auch rot. Ah, aua. Ich wurde von der Tür erschlagen. Da.
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands?
Mini-stands,
Stanley
Digga.
things. What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Der Typ ist komisch. Because the boss knows that what the boss says goes. If the boss has suffered losses, then that's what the boss chose. What? Hier sind irgendwie alle komisch. Ich mach einfach mal, ne? Oh Gott. So. Was ist denn mit ihm jetzt? Warum leuchtet dieses Papier? Boah, ich blende ja übelst in den Augen. Er ist so ein Vater. Ganz ehrlich. Wo ist meine Box? Meine Box? Wo ist mein Loch und die Figur?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now,
Das ist mein
in his
Bucket.
darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any
Ich hab den
notion
Code
that the
vergessen.
pin number for the keypad was 2845.
No, Kätzchen. Aber da ist doch eine Fireplace. Ich dachte, da wäre jetzt noch eine Dings.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Ja, ich mache hier schon. Ach so. Lol.
But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Weißt du schon, das ist mal drin? Ja, Mann. Als ob ich mir so Zahlen merke. Aber ich hätte echt gedacht, dass sie jetzt noch so eine Figur ist, weil wegen Fireplace und so. Now I am confusion. Weird. Ich habe immer noch nicht mein Loch gefunden.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic
Sorry, God,
sense
und
of
ist das
happiness
andere von dem,
that
was
you
ich
get
sagen
from seeing
würde?
a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
Nearly a fireplace. Ich glaube, das war das jetzt. Aber das mit dem Somewhere above red and blue und a large room with lots of boxes, das habe ich halt noch nicht. Zwei fehlen mir noch. Oh Gott.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Tschüss.
Wait, Stanley said to the bucket. Can we go back up? When I was pressing those keypad buttons, there was something very intriguing about the number 3. I want to go back so I can try pressing the number 3 again. The bucket said nothing. Here we are, said Stanley. Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took the bucket over to the keypad and began absolutely slamming on the number 3 over and over and over. Well, he said, the number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at
Ja,
the
mein
bucket,
Bucket ist
but
toll.
the bucket remained silent. This was a shock to Stanley, who had always felt such a connection with the bucket. How was this not as exciting to the bucket as it was to him? Once Stanley had had enough of the number 3, he got back in the elevator.
Ich wäre auch neidisch auf die Verbundenheit zwischen meinem Eimer und mir, wenn ich jemand anderes wäre. Mein Eimer. Aber ich will auch mein Loch wieder.
Perhaps the bucket had missed something. Perhaps it had not seen how much joy Stanley got from slamming the number 3 repeatedly. A hint of regret nagged in the back of Stanley's mind. Should he demonstrate the number 3 for the bucket again?
Ja. Definitiv.
No, 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 said Stanley to the bucket. You can't go on yet. Not till you understand how much the number 3 means to me.
Yeah.
You and I have been through so much together, and I just want you to see what I see. Feel the happiness I feel. He smiled at the bucket, and the bucket said nothing.
Der Bucket sagt mir so viel. Ich weiß ja nicht, warum du nichts davon hörst. Komm, wir gehen doch mal mit dem Eimer die 3 drücken. Komm,
Here we
Eimer.
go, said Stanley. This time I'll really show you. He ran to the number 3 and began to wail on it like a musician on a beloved instrument, weaving a concerto of truth and passion. He wielded the number 3 like a fine artist would wield a paintbrush. He told stories through the number 3, stories of his dreams and hopes and fears. The whole time, he looked to his bucket for a reaction of some kind. Anything to let him know that the bucket appreciated what he was doing. The bucket conveyed absolutely nothing at all, only silence. Crushed by a wave of dejection, Stanley returned to the elevator.
Ich weiß nicht, warum es so dumm und so genial gleichzeitig. Das musst du aber auch halt erstmal schaffen. Irgendwann müsste ich schon noch verstehen, das mit der 3.
Stanley and the bucket were so close. They'd always been there for one another. Why suddenly could the bucket not connect with this passion of Stanley's? The question caused Stanley to ruminate the whole way down the elevator. He knew that there must be a way to get through to the bucket, to communicate fully with his dear friend. Surely there was a solution, mustn't there be?
Huch. Nochmal hochfahren. Someday you will understand.
Said Stanley. I know what to do.
Siehst du?
I know
Muss man
how to
auch machen.
fully express this feeling in my heart. He decided right then and there that he would hold a press conference where
Was?
he would speak to the public on all matters relating to pressing the number
Scheiße.
over and over. He would elaborate fully on what the number 3 meant to him and why he felt so alive when pressing it. Then the bucket would be able to see his joy through the eyes of others. It would get to see the
Was mach
world
ich?
react to this discovery of Stanley's. And it would be through the public eye that the bucket would finally understand Stanley's work.
Okay.
For months, he advertised and marketed his press conference, building excitement around it, developing and rehearsing it, until it couldn't be refined a single measure further. When the big day arrived, Stanley was as prepared
genau.
as he'd ever been for anything in his life.
Ja. Tonight live. The Stanley Parable Stanley. Tonight live on stage. Komm, wir gehen jetzt über die 3 reden. An evening with world peace, baby. World's first San. A Q&A. Oh, cool. Habt ihr hier noch irgendwas für mich? 3. Ja, siehst du? Der Typ war von uns mit der 2 voll obsessed und bei mir ist jetzt halt die 3. Lass mich.
This was it. One last chance to win the bucket over. One opportunity to share a true connection with a loved one.
Aber Fahndungsfoto hier von uns. Stanley reveals all in his book. Wir haben sogar ein Buch über die 3 geschrieben. 3 again, 3 again.
There was no one here. Nobody had come to the press conference
Hä, ich
to
habe
hear
doch gerade
Stanley
voll viele
speak,
Menschen gehört.
to listen to him talk about what it really means to press the number 3 on a keypad over and over. He was unloved, uninteresting. He was a failure.
Hallo.
And in that moment, Stanley knew that the bucket would never again take him seriously. There would be no connection, no deeper
Press the number 3 on
understanding.
the keypad over and over.
The bucket merely sat there in his arms, indifferent. And so it began that slowly, over many years, the two of them grew more and more distant. They spoke less and less, neither wishing to state the obvious, that any sense of real respect between them had eroded since that day at the press conference. There would be no more games, no more long conversations about passion and pursuit, only a silence that consumed the space between friends. And
Hallo.
Stanley, having for once in his life discovered the warmth and comfort of true companionship, was
Was ist denn
cast
jetzt los
back
hier?
into the unremarkable normalcy of loneliness.
Nein, mein Eimer. Mein Eimer. Ich habe das Spiel kaputt gemacht.
How long was I sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself. Minutes? Days? Centuries? Did something crucial happen while my senses were turned? He made a note to be more careful with time from now on.
Nö. Hä, as if. Hab ich nie gesagt. Das community meeting today in the meeting room. Gib meinen
The
Eimer.
embrace of an old friend, a weathered companionship that stands the test of time.
Lass mich. Lass meinen Eimer.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Ich versuche immer noch herauszufinden, wo die anderen
Coming
beiden
to a
Figuren noch
staircase,
sind.
Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication
Ich
of
hab's schon wieder
any human
vergessen.
life. Crushed by the weight of this
Ich hab schon
revelation,
wieder die Zahl
Stanley may
vergessen.
have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire, if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of
Erinnerung
hours,
ist ja, das
did the bucket's
würde ich aber auch
warmth
gerne
and
mal
guiding
wissen.
light pierce the dark? Did he have any notion that the pin number for the keypad was
Ja.
2845?
Ah, sag das doch.
But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was
Ja.
the bucket guiding him?
Ja, er tut.
Yes. This is certainly the most logical explanation.
Yes. Mein Eimer leitet mich. Alter. Alles gut, Eimer, dir wird nichts passieren. Was zum...
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death.
Ja, nicht wahr?
The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn
Das ist, weil
around
Emma
and
kann
get
mich
back
leiden.
on track.
Und nicht, mein Eimer leidet mich. Ach, stimmt.
At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
Lass uns in Ruhe.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had
Was will
turned
er denn
out to
immer?
be.
Warum will er immer den Eimer und mich nochmal
It
trennen?
puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket. But what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
Das ist gemein
Farewell,
von ihm.
Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end, as it was crushed violently to death.
Hey.
It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's
Ja,
true
find
that
ich
all
auch.
buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
Der Eimer. Heißt willkommen zur großen Ausstellung. Sie stehen am Abgrund des Wissens. Ähnlich wie ein Eimer ist auch der menschliche Verstand oft leer. Eine höhlenartige Leere. Aber durch die Absorption des Ausstellungsstückes vor ihnen wird der Geist voll, bereichert und fundiert. Die Kenntnisse über den Eimer und seine Geschichte sind das einzig wahre Wissen, das wir wirklich haben. Werden Sie das, was Sie hier lernen, mit in die Welt hinausnehmen? Nein. Werden Sie aufgeschlossen akzeptieren, was an den Informationen in dieser Ausstellung herausfordernd sein mag? Nein. Werden Sie das Leben von sich selbst und Ihren Liebsten als Folge dieser Ausstellung verändern? Nein. Oder werden Sie die Augen verschließen und weiterleben wie bisher in Unwissenheit und Dunkelheit? Ja. In der Dunkelheit fühle ich mich wohl. Aber mein Eimer soll wieder zu mir kommen.
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
Dieser Eimer ist mit zwei Händen abgebildet. Eine solche Konstruktion wurde in der Realität nie hergestellt, da sie als zu gefährlich und waghalsige Experimente eingestuft wurde. Jedes Jahr werden Dutzende hingerichtet, nur weil sie es versucht haben. Wahrscheinlich, ne? Ach, das ist schön. Imagine das als Puzzle. Wirst du ja nie fertig. Eine Fotografie von 25 Eimern, die größte Anzahl an Eimern, die jemals von einer Kamera erfasst wurde. Der Fotograf erlitt mehrere Wochen lang einen katatonischen Schock aufgrund der Euphorie, die er beim Anblick so vieler Eimer auf einmal empfand. Das verstehe ich. Inferno-Eimer. Eine Nachbildung des Inferno-Eimers, der im Mittelalter eine große Anziehungskraft ausübte, das Dutzende von Nationen gegeneinander Krieg führten, um die Kontrolle über ihn zu erlangen. Milliarden von Menschen starben. Und trotz allem bleibt die einfache Tatsache bestehen, niemand kann einen Eimer kontrollieren. Ich wollte gerade auch so sagen, es wollten die Kontrolle über den Eimer erlangen, aber seid ihr sicher, dass der Eimer nicht euch kontrolliert? Oh, I like. Höhlenmalerei. Wir wissen zwar, dass es einmal schon vor der Existenz der Menschheit gab, aber wir wissen nicht, wie lange zuvor. Die Höhlenzeichnung zeigt, wie der frühe Mensch den praktischen Nutzen des Eimers entdeckte. Zu diesem Zeitpunkt gab es den Eimer wahrscheinlich schon seit mehreren Jahrtausenden. Auf diesen Zeichnungen ist zu sehen, wie der Eimer die Benutzung seiner selbst zulässt, nachdem er die Menschen für würdig befunden hat, seine Schätze zu nutzen. Ich stelle mir gerade vor, wie schon so Dinosaurier, so ein T-Rex mit seinen kleinen Stummelarmen, wie er einfach da so ein Eimer da auf seinem Arm hat. Irgendwie voll cute.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
Der hängende Eimer. Dieses Stück symbolisiert die notwendige Beziehung zwischen Eimer und Menschheit. Wie klar unser Verständnis des Eimers auch sein mag, es gibt noch mehr, das stets außerhalb unserer Reichweite liegt. Dieser Abstand ist unweigerlich zu unserem eigenen Besten. Nein, ich kann nicht darunter. Ich kann auch hier oben lang laufen. Was ist denn das für eine Scheiße? Hey, ich muss da hin. Ey. Das ist nicht mein Loch. Ich kann da nicht reinfallen. Das ist ein Fake-Loch. Tja, Schmutz. Das sind nur die Illusionen meines Loches. Ja, was soll die Scheiße? Gib mir mein Loch zurück. Wie die einfach voll mit meinen Gefühlen spielen, das finde ich nicht in Ordnung. Das Chest Bucket. Wow. Ohne Kommentar. Wo soll ich denn jetzt hin? Hä, wo muss ich denn hin? War ich irgendwo noch nicht? Ach so, warte mal. Ah. Ich muss den
There
einmal
is
nehmen.
something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong.
Fühle ich nicht.
Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't
Hallo.
reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision.
Aua.
The meeting room. Yes, that's where everyone would be. Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be... The bucket
Das
made
ja.
Stanley want to be a better man and a better co-worker.
Ja.
In time, perhaps, he would become both of those things. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest
Lass
and
mein
entered
Eimer.
the door on his left.
Ich suche immer noch mein Loch. Mein Eimer und ich suchen mein Loch.
Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did, you can
Langweiler.
guarantee we'd be in... Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Er ist so ein Langweiler.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along?
Yes.
Was the bucket guiding him? Yes. This is certainly the most logical explanation.
Ich weiß halt nicht, wenn ich das jetzt hier stoppe, ob das dann da wieder weitermacht. Na gut, wir haben jetzt hier noch nicht weitergemacht, dann würde ich dann beim nächsten Mal wieder weitermachen. Weil ich würde uns das jetzt auch erstmal zu Ende machen. Also finishen. Zurück zum Menü. Startet immer in Stanleys Büro. Ja, ist ja jetzt nicht so schlimm. Aber dann stoppen wir auch erstmal das Stanley Parable hier. Vielleicht finden wir beim nächsten Mal noch die beiden letzten Figuren und vielleicht finden wir dann ja auch mein Loch wieder. Und das ist jetzt auch schon wieder eine ganze Weile gezockt und mal schauen, ob ich jetzt noch ein bisschen auf irgendwas reacte oder so.